Hey guys, Urban Architect here, and welcome to the first video of what'll be like a new thing on this channel, where I look around some of my older cities, and this one's really old. This is nearly 2.5 years old, and I'm just doing this to have a bit more lighthearted content on this channel, and also so that you guys can see, that we're all human, and that Skylines is very much a learning process. And this video is just going to be an unscripted look around the city, all the mistakes I made, all the funny shit. And yeah, you'll notice that it still looks beautiful, and that's just because I'm using the City Skylines Canada lighting settings, just to spare y'all the vanilla aesthetic, because this city used to be very muddy brown, right? So without further ado, welcome to LakeValley. And yeah, LakeValley, terrible name. There's no lake, there's no valley. So this was just a random name generator. And in case you're wondering, the map, which I do recommend, it's a cool map, was Teyland-Z. So I guess we'll start with the intersections and my highway system, because I think it was very clever. First of all, this intersection is God, I'm not even gonna do the math, but there are a lot of lanes flying around in here, plus a ton of trains. So the basic concept behind my highway system was 6 entire lanes for just cars up top with the passenger rail running through the middle, and then beneath it 6 more lanes just for trucks and cargo trains. Very clever. Any urban planner would probably have a stroke over it, but very clever for a child, So we'll just start away from the downtown over here at the first naval base I built, and once you see the naval base I've been building for Canada, you'll be very impressed. Now, a lot of assets are going to be missing through the course of this, just because of the ravages of time. For example, all these planes that used to be here on a lot of the boats are no longer on the workshop. But this naval base, it had some warehouses, but not enough warehouses, and way too many offices. Goddamn, this is an IT cluster, not a naval base. And yeah, these were my very shitty ramps that I had to my boats. These surfaces here. And you'll notice that it's like a 40-foot drop down to a boat. And here's a piece of advice to everyone who plays Skylines. Build your waterfronts very low to the water, because that's how they are in real life. You're not going to see a 30-foot, 20-foot quay. And because we always look at Skylines from so far away, it's easy to see those things and think they're really down low, but they actually aren't. Right, so we had some submarines. Right, I don't know how you get onto this without a jump and a lot of luck. But yeah. That was the naval base. I like this naval tower. This is cool. And you'll notice our beautiful highway intersection on the way in. And a very short runway, right? It's a runway for a helicopter. And then over here, just 2 45-degree turns away, was our little pocket of industry. And we had a port with like 18 entire containers and 6 ports. I do like the Rotterdam tower though. Kudos to my younger self, that's pretty great. And I think this was an efficient traffic sorting system. I've got no clue. What wasn't efficient was this highway intersection, but that kind of happens with double-decker highways, right? And then over here I had this really old-ass warehouse with no raison d'etre, no reason to be here, just looking out of place and looking stupid like the rest of the city. Right, and then over here we had some very sparse industry, a war crime against rail yards and any trains that have to use it, and some office towers and retaining walls before they were cool. Right, so this was everything we built outside of the city, and as you can see, the quality is excessively low. Right, so moving into the city, we will start from down here with the only redeeming quality of it, which is this curvy highway, which looks awesome. And the skyline looks good just because of the pure scale of it. Now right here we have some very sparse green space. And the way I placed the buildings for all these outskirts was I just placed a few set buildings. That's why there's a lot of these and a lot of these everywhere. It's a mess, right? But I do like the green space if you ignore the cliff and the low water level. I like this. This is nice. And the reason I like the green space is because the rest of the city is a concrete nightmare. Like, oh my god, I was just... Surface painter was the shit, right? So yeah, up on this hill, we have a disaster of a city. Very sparse, very terrible, and a building with Minecraft textures. This is just dirt. And then some newer buildings that are just going in because growables are lagged. And then I have some really big roads for no reason to being here. Over here we've lost the building, but the cars are still there. They're still parked. You know, their owners never walked out. So sad. And then down here we had this. This was alright. This was decent. I don't hate this. But I think zoning has turned some of these buildings into not what they're supposed to be. Then over here we have the biggest casualty, which is the lofts from Dubai. It's just broken. Irreparably broken. And this was like the cool, quirky museum area. That's where we have this geology thing. And right next to it, a crematorium, which is lovely. And these big commie blocks. Up here, I like this library. This looks great. But obviously I fucked it up still because I didn't play with these angles that are so nice. Right. And what even is this building? The State Public Library. That's kind of nice. I like it. I haven't used these buildings. Right. And it was very important for me that this area be fire safe. So I put a fire watch tower and many fire stations. Very good. And I'm sure by now you've gagged at all the vanilla trees. If you're watching this, don't use vanilla trees. They're terrible for performance and they look like ass. Anyhow, over here we had a big empty block. Call it a park, but for concrete. And you can notice my beautiful wavy river boundaries. They're beautiful. They're curvaceous, right? And then over here, this area was all downtown because it was downtown, but odd. And we used some odd older buildings. My favorite one is this very out of place building right here. No reason being here. Although I gotta admit, I do like this building right here. This building is great. This is great. But the highway intersection, another war crime. Obviously, we have the building from Philadelphia, the building from Miami, and then an opera center next to some nice square terrain that I can't find what it's associated to. And I mean, look at how many lanes we have. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous, ridiculous, ridiculous. That's too many lanes, kids. And then all downtown, very odd buildings, right? And then the worst thing of all in this city, in my opinion, right here, the Grand Station. It is not grand, and it's a shitty station because as nice as it is having the trains in the middle of the highway, the problems arise when you need to get the trains out of the highway. So then it goes up, and then it goes down, and then it goes down again, right? So this is terrible. I mean, look at this. Never mind the fact that the station is in at least like 3 kilometers of concrete before it reaches anything relevant. And there's a lovely drop for anyone feeling down about themselves. And then we have some fire stations and a terrible waterfront. Right. So yeah, that was Descent. That was the West Bank, which I read in a book somewhere and didn't understand what it meant. Kids. And then this was our downtown island. It looks like a very awkward bone. It has the USS Missouri, which is a redeeming feature if you're into that. And we had the military park. This is what it was called because there was a big boat and some rocks. So I thought that was cool. The trams that I never used. Very big roads. Although I have to admit, credit to my younger self, this skyline kind of works for me. I like the TD Center on the water. I like the Gecker Corporation, and I love the building from Hong Kong. And I think Water Tower Place does excellently as a secondary building. Of course, what cannot be forbidden is this waterfront with the trees. But hey, I was a kid. Right? And here we have like the only park in the city. Well, one of 3 parks. It's beautiful. It's got trees. You gotta give credit to the Canada lighting if it makes vanilla trees look good. And then beautiful downtown plaza with a circus for all the office workers. You know, they'll just finish negotiating some stock deals and go ride the merry-go-round. It's great. So yeah, this is downtown Korea, the Columbia Center from Seattle. And yeah, this is an obscenely tall skyline. Obscenely tall. Most of these buildings here would be taller than anything we have in Canada, even the tower. Moving along the shore, I have 3 of the 4 Madrid office towers because I love them. They're great. I've seen them in real life. They're beautiful. And this was great. This was great because you see we have the traffic coming in from the other side of the river. And in order to slow it down, first of all, we made it a nice little loop around this building. And then we give it a little squiggle. Why I did that, I can't begin to fathom. But it looks awesome and realistic. I do dig the university. This is a big university from Rio de Janeiro. I kind of like it. A big commie block looking university in the middle of downtown. Kind of cool. I rate it. I do rate it. So yeah, this was easily the best part of the city because it's the one with the most thought into it. And right over the obscene highway is the worst part of the city. Look at the building selections. I mean, this is terrible. Terrible building after terrible building selection. Look at this. We have this terrible building from Dubai, which has one good angle just because you see less of it. We have the 10 poly, very low poly Trump Tower from Chicago that is entirely too tall for a balanced skyline. And we have this royal blue tower that is an even deeper blue than our saturation increased cube map. So yeah, that really puts things into perspective. And then we have this tiny apartment block right across the river from an awesome park. Because this awesome park, one time it had a pond, and then younger Bean was unable to work with water sources. So now it's Crater Park. And coming into this island, we have some obscene roundabouts. You're gonna love this one. I love this one. I was very proud of it, you see, because it's called a roundabout, not a circle about. So, you know, it was round. It worked. And then we had some parks, a ton of buildings missing. I really struggled with filling this area. And this office tower is entirely out of place, and the city is shit. I used roads that were too big, didn't work with the terrain, awful roundabouts. But over here, this little skyline here, I kind of liked this. But the Montreal building is on fire, so we'll have to look at it some other day when they're done handling that. But this is cool. This is a cool little angle. But yeah, there's a lot wrong with the city. You know, the quays, the road angles, the road grid, the road sizes. Never fucking mind the fucking war crime of a highway network. But yeah, so that's the Grand City Tour. And I suppose before we go, we should all have a good laugh together at the transit system. You see, folks, we only used metros because anything else is for cowards. And we had one looping metro for each of our 3 sections of the city. And then one shitty, understaffed line connecting the 3 of them. Which may seem like a good idea if you don't think about it, but actually offers terrible, terrible connectivity and is terrible. Don't do this. Don't do this. It doesn't work. It's dumb. Yeah. So yes, anyhow, this has been LakeValley. No lake, no valley, no quality. But I do hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll probably be doing more of these in the future. My next city we'll be looking at is a winter city called, guess what? Ice Bay. So I'll see you next time on that one. Have a great day. Goodbye.